Welcome. This is my project demonstration for 3150. I'll be demoing two apps, my website and the app that I made. So the first project I'm talking about is the news website I made using vanilla JavaScript. It was only written using vanilla JavaScript. There's really no dependencies involved here. Basically, what it is 8 different articles that I implemented, and it allows you to navigate by clicking on the articles and going back to the home page. The data is stored locally in JavaScript. A more full-featured website would use some sort of a backend to store the article data, but here I just store it as an object in JavaScript. In the picture right here, you can actually see all the article data that I store. Each article consists of 5 pieces of data, which is the title, author, date, article content, and the image associated with it. And as you can see, all 8 articles stored in a list here called My Data. So this is what is used to access the data of the article. Some future improvements for the article project would be to allow for the user to interact with the backspace button in the browser. This is something that React is able to do, but I couldn't get it working in time, so I basically have an actual button you have to press to go back. Of course, it would be much better using a backend, and this is the sort of project that is a lot better fitted to be written using React. It's just that when I wrote the project, I wasn't as familiar with it, but this would be very scalable using React. There weren't too many challenges since I wrote the website using Vanilla.js, but some of the difficulties involved were dealing with some new objects, such as the datetime object that I used to sort the data, and a few different JavaScript syntax features I haven't used before. Overall, the most difficult thing was working with CSS. I find it very difficult when I have a vision in my head of what I want the website to look like and trying to actually make that. It took a lot of time and things would often move out of bounds, but I did learn quite a bit about CSS writing this project. So now I'll move on to the news website demonstration. So this is a demo of the news website app. So as I explained earlier, there's 8 articles, and here's all 8 of them right here on the home page. Up here we have a nav bar with different categories of the website. The only one that I implemented was the home section, just because the other sections would be a bit redundant. You would need more article data to implement different news article sections. So these sections don't actually have anything in them. But under the home page, you can see the 8 articles. The pictures on GitHub pages don't work for some reason, but it does run locally. It's just I don't have access to that local machine that I wrote it on. But the pictures are stored in the project, so that's just a small fix that would need to be made there. Another feature that I didn't mention earlier is that you're able to sort the articles by date. So if we sort it by oldest, you can see that we have the oldest article here. And then we could sort by newest. One feature I didn't have time to get to is sorting by author, but that is a future improvement, and I put that here. And of course, additional sorting filters could be added on the sorting sidebar as well. When you click on an article, you can see that it reloads the main content of the web page below the nav bar, and it has all main 5 elements of an article: the author, date, picture, data, and title. And then, as I mentioned, I have a back button that you actually have to press. When you do click on an article, we're actually at the same URL. The way that I'm implementing this by using vanilla JavaScript is by simply using JavaScript to replace the elements in the DOM. So basically in that DOM tree, everything that is here, everything in the main page below the nav bar is simply being replaced with these elements. And when we hit back, it regenerates those elements in the DOM tree. So, but of course, writing this in React would be a lot more efficient probably, but it was a good experience to learn how to write something like this using vanilla JavaScript. Okay, now we're moving on to the quiz app that I've written using React Native. The quiz app has 4 different questions and 6 different screens. It has a welcome screen followed by the 4 questions and a results screen. When you select the questions, you can select as many options as you want. It's multiple choice questions. The buttons are implemented using the touchable without feedback element, and I am able to color the buttons using use state and set state, and that's able to change the background color of the view element that the text is inside of. And then you have navigation buttons such as next question, which I'll demo in a few minutes. Some future improvements for the quiz app would be to allow for swiping gestures to move between the questions. It's something that I could look into. You'd have to install some dependencies in order to be able to use swiping gestures. You could add some additional types of questions, such as fill in the blank questions. And the way that I implemented it was actually using the navigation provided by React allows for passing data directly to the next screen that you select. However, it would be a lot more scalable if I were to rewrite this using Redux. If you were to, say, add like dozens of more questions, Redux would be a lot more organized for doing a large-scale quiz app. But my current implementation does work just fine. Making a React Native app was a lot more challenging than the first project. The first challenge was, of course, simulating the app, although using Expo made things run a lot smoother. So once I got things up and running, that worked pretty well. Another challenge was the error messages. For some reason, the error messages were very hard to decode, and they would be running on my phone and my laptop. That was a big slowdown. There were really a lot of challenges. One of the biggest ones is switching between the screens and passing data between those screens and deciding how to do that and learning how to do that. And but ultimately, I was able to get that working by using the screen elements in React. So these are the main challenges that I faced, and now I'll move on to the demonstration. All right, this is a demonstration of the quiz app that I made using React Native. This app contains 4 questions and 6 different screens implemented. This is the welcome screen, and it provides you with one button to start the quiz. We go ahead and press that, and we're presented with the first question. The questions, when you select an option, it turns the option light blue to know that you have it selected, and you are allowed to select multiple options. In this case, if we select an answer, we press next question to move on to the next question, and we can move on through all 4 of the questions that I made here. When you're on question number 4, it shows a view results button, and when you press this button, it then presents you with the results of the quiz. In my case, I got 100%, and it shows that they're all 4 right. I'll do another demonstration where maybe I choose the first 2 questions wrong and the last 2 questions right. So we have a try again button, and this button takes us back not to the welcome screen, but to the first question. So we press this, and we're presented back at the first question. I'll go ahead and choose the wrong year here, and then I'll choose the wrong country, but then I'll choose the right answer for the next 2 here. And as you can see, the wrong questions are marked as red, and the right questions are marked as green, and then it shows that I had 50%. So that's the current state of the quiz app in React. One more note, if you did choose 2 answers, that would be marked as wrong. So if you choose multiple answers, all the answers need to match up with the answer key. So that's how this works. Thank you for listening. For listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed the website and the app and come up with future improvement ideas for your own. Have a good day.